Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about productivity, and more specifically, I want to talk about my progress in getting my office to at least a state where it's starting to feel like a real office. Um, why is this important? Because one of the things that I've noticed over time with my own personal self is that if I don't have sort of like an organized environment, I tend to, my productivity level goes down. And I don't know if that's the same for you, but it's definitely the same for me. That's how I feel about things. Now, I can work in a messy place, but after a while, it just kind of builds up and eventually I just get super frustrated and just don't want to do any single thing. And so, anyway, based on the last video that you would have seen, I think I labeled it that my productivity has gone out the window or something like that. Um, this is sort of a follow up to that, just to show you the progress that I've made. Normally, I wouldn't do like edited videos on this channel. It's not my goal. It's just to kind of do raw content. However, I'm not going to torture you with 10, 15 hours worth of cleaning. Nobody's going to watch it anyway. So I decided to sort of do kind of a B-roll while I talk you through some of the different steps and what my goals are for the office. So first of all, let me talk about the goals for the office, and then we'll kind of think. And let me back up by just saying this. I am like a super nerd when it comes to like clean desk. So we've all seen like the super fancy desk that's like super clean and well organized, and I am just a sucker for that type of stuff. However, one of the problems that I've seen with those setups, I don't have any reference of any video. Maybe I'll show one in a B-roll or something. But one of the things that I've noticed with those types of video setup or desk setup is that most of those people, their environments is pretty simple. Like they just have one laptop, um, sort of pushing maybe one or two monitors, and that's about it. And my environment and setup is nowhere as simple as that. Not because I'm a more complex person per se. It's just that I just got a lot of stuff going on from a software development standpoint, and I need multiple computers. So things get messy, and then also I want to be able to have multiple monitors. So I don't want one massive monitor because I personally find that to be not as productive. Windows floating all over the place. Now, mind you, Microsoft has some pretty good sort of window management tools. I can't say the same for Apple. I find that their window management tool to be garbage, but that's besides the point. So the point is, I want to have multiple monitors, which means one computer has to feed at least three monitors on my desk. That's goal number one. However, um, if I have multiple computers, now I have a problem where multiple computers need to funnel multiple monitors, right? So you see where I'm going with this, right? So it gets more crazy. And then add insult to injury, if I'm on, let's say, PC one and I'm listening to music, I want one set of speakers to be able to output the audio. But if I switch to PC2 should also be output into the same set of monitors. See where I'm going with this? Now, add insult to injury. I'm talking to the webcam right now, and in the perfect world, what I'd like to do is be able to PC1 connect on Zoom and then switch over to PC2 and also use the same one webcam to talk on Zoom, and the lighting and the mic also shift over as well too. So that gets more complicated when you start to get into that setup. Now, that's kind of where I'm at today. I got two main PCs. One is a Mac, one is a PC. I use a Mac primarily for video editing and a few other stuff, photo editing, that sort of deal. And then I use a PC for like development, programming, that type of stuff. And so that's kind of where I'm at with the level of complexity. However, if it's going to get significantly more crazy now, because my goal is to get about at least maybe about 6 or 7 monitors in here, because I just need a lot more monitors to kind of keep track of all the things that's going on programmatically. So I need a few monitors, and they all have to kind of have their own isolated computer to run it. So all that to say that like my office setup is not as straightforward and as simple as one MacBook powering one or two monitors, and that's about it. That's like a super simple, that's easy to get clean. So with my setup, what you end up happening, my sorry, what ends up happening is you end up in a situation where you just got tons and tons of wires, just wires in galore. Here's where the kicker comes in. I am obsessed, and I do mean I sincerely am obsessed with not having wires all over the place. I hate to see wires. By wires all over the place, I mean visible wires. So I don't like the idea of seeing visible wires. I've royally failed at that. I'm going to show you clips of me and how the wires are they're just under the desk right now. They're just everywhere. And that's temporary. I'm working on it because the desk is still not stable. But the goal is when you walk in the room, you shouldn't see a single wire, period. That's just my personal rule. This is just it's like a golden rule for me. Okay. So it's a pet peeve, it's an OCD, you know, my wife would be like, why do you, who cares? But I care. So that's number one. Number two, to add insult to injury again, I have a sit-stand desk. So I have 100 set of wires, literally, and I have a sit-stand desk. So yeah, how do you deal with that, right? So because the wires have to kind of move with the desk, there's not enough space underneath the desk for all the wiring. So I've come up with a solution with this bookshelf to essentially make it like a computer rack. And that computer rack will have all the computers and all the office stuff, and then kind of route the wire to the desk. All of the complex wiring is hidden behind the actual behind the bookshelf itself, and then the goal is to run one massive cable into the sit stand desk in itself. So that's the sort of the best goal. I don't know, number five, right? Yes. And then from an organization standpoint, so what I've done is I've taken the last 2 weeks on the weekends and just organized everything. And here's a tip for you. These bins that I got, they're from Home Depot. They're amazing. They're clear bins. Highly recommend them. In fact, I'm going to put some links to all of the stuff that I talk about in this video in the description. Some of them might be affiliate links, just a heads up on that, because I figured why not, it's not going to cost you anything. It's just, I figured, if I'm going to recommend all this stuff, I might as well just think. I'm not recommending anything, just to be clear. I'm just telling you my solution to solve my problems, and you might find some of it of value. So I got the shelves, which I talked about in my previous video. The shelves that help me to organize things. Now, right now, the shelf is just a chaotic mess, but that's okay. It's all organized on a shelf, and eventually I'm going to get to a place where it's fully organized. Then I bought this sort of drawer system that literally, honestly, it's a fantastic thing. It was pretty cheap. These are like very cheap stuff on Amazon, but it does a fantastic job of helping me to organize like pretty much any single thing. Now, what do I use it for? Believe it or not, I actually put clothes inside of there. So one of the things that I do is sometimes I tend to wear just raggy t-shirts most days, because it's just what I'm most comfortable in. But if I have a Zoom meeting, which I have a lot of meetings with, I'll put on a proper shirt. And so, like, I need to walking across and going to the bedroom and getting clothes and all that kind of stuff. It's just too time consuming. So what I do is I keep in the drawer a set of shirts and just things that I could just quickly put on. Or if I have to just head out the door, like I literally got my jeans pants and stuff like that I could just pull on and just head out the door very quickly. So it just gives me a super efficient way to kind of organize the things that are like business related. My bag is in the corner and stuff like that. And then what else? So we got the bins, we got the thing. I got a place for my bags, and then over here, just right behind me here, this is I'm gonna call it my lounge chair. So it's where I kind of just sit down, and when I just need just a bit of break from either standing or sitting, and I kind of want to be on the couch, but I don't want to be on the couch, if that makes sense. So this is a really good hybrid version where I could kind of relax. I could take up my laptop. I could start working on it. I got my iPad next to me with a sort of a mount, and that just allows me sort of a different position so I could kind of keep the flow of things going. And yeah, so I guess my tips for I'm ranting a little bit here, but I'll give you a couple of tips in terms of organization. For now, number one is, if you're going to try to get things organized, you need to like literally try to get a bin for every different type of stuff. So I have a bin for computer peripherals. I have a bin for network cable. I have a bin for wire organizers. I have a bin for camera gear. I have a bin, like just a bin for every single thing, and then obviously they're stacked up in the ceiling so that you could. So it just gives me just an extra room just because I put every single thing up there. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. So in terms of goals, I've talked about the goals already for the office, but just in terms of like where I plan to go with the office itself, is I'm planning to. So this whole back wall here, I saw these really cool panel things that I'm going to try to install on this back wall, and the goal is when I'm on Zoom, is that there'll be like a light here and like a nice bookshelf and all that kind of fancy stuff, and it'll be more of a decorative shelf. So this side will be more decorative, is how I would describe it, and then this side is more practical, where it's all like truly true organized type of stuff. This way, like I'm not mixing the two. And so anyway, so that's where I'm at right now, and then the goal is to um, design and build an actual mount system. So here's one other additional complexity to all the stuff that I talked about before. So I want to have three monitors floating. So there should be no legs on the desk. This is just a personal thing. Like why? Just because. It's just who I am. No legs on the desk. The three monitors must be held up by one massive arm. However, I can't find an arm that could solve this problem for me, because I haven't actually. I bought a tree arm monitor stand one time a long time ago, and I still have it. The problem is that it can't support. I'm in a corner, so it's a three-legged. I'm sorry, tree monitors in a corner, so it needs to be in sort of like a 45-degree angle. Is that 45? No, I'm sorry, 90-degree angle. And then, in addition to a 90-degree angle, I want to be able to put a what's the word, teleprompter in on top of it. So that adds more complexity, because the teleprompter has to have my DSLR inside of it as well too. And this is just so that I can, when I'm on Zoom, I can look dead into the camera, but I could see everybody on that teleprompter. That's the only goal for the teleprompter. I know, a little bit crazy. Why didn't you just look at the monitor? Because I don't want to look at the monitor. I want to look at the teleprompter, so it will appear that I'm talking directly into the camera, because I'm seeing you and I am looking directly into the camera, and I'm actually talking to you versus looking down, which is what you're seeing right now. Right? So those are like the general goals. And then I didn't talk about this corner here, but there's a bunch of equipment that has to do with like audio switching between the different PCs and stuff like that. So that's kind of like the general thing. So hopefully I've given you some sort of, I don't know what I've given you in this video, to be honest with you. This is just a rant video about what I plan to do to organize my office. And I'm going to try to link to all of the different things that I have in here. Some will be affiliate links that will, I don't know. I don't know what it'll do. Give me a commission or something. But whatever. If you find value from it, check out some of the stuff. My philosophy is buy things that are super cheap that look good, and that's what I've done. And so hopefully I've given you some value in terms of whatever. If not, that's okay too. Um, yeah, that's basically it. In the next video that I'll do in the future, whenever that is I'm gonna just go a little bit more in depth on the wire organization, because I'm obsessed with the wires, and I haven't seen people spend much time like the level of details that I put with wires. So I'm gonna do a video purely on wires, and I know people like, why? Just because there's people out there that like wiring, and yeah. So I'll show you that, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the actual computer setup and how I run all the wires and stuff like that. So this is just phase, like I said, I think this is about a 5-part series around my office setup. So hopefully maybe in like another 6 months to a year, you'll see the progress of how the office has evolved. And maybe you'll get some inspiration, maybe you'll get some value on what you could do with your own office setup. And I think I forgot to mention that this is where my kids sit. I think I might have mentioned that before, but he sits there and he has his iPad here and kind of just hangs out in his corner. Even when I'm on the Zoom meeting, he will sit there quietly, just chilling. So he's pretty good. So. Okay, that's it. That's all I got to talk to in this video. There's a lot of ranting here, but that's okay.